Hey everybody, welcome to RacerXOnline.com. I'm Kris Keefer, Phil Nicoletti. Before we start this, I want to quote the famous Lloyd Christmas. Hey, goodbyes. Goodbye, my love. Good old Phil right here. Look at him. He is so happy to be gone.
If I knew this was going to be this embarrassing, I wouldn't have come over here. But
look at the crowd that you formed. Like, I don't even.
yeah. A lot of people. No. Yeah, it's cool.
Well, this isn't about you, Phil. It's about your bike. We're here to talk about your bike because, look out of everybody in the paddock, there's not one rider that is more pickier than this son of a bitch right here. So this is what I like. This is why we're here. So we're going to let everything out of the bag today. This is his last race, so he shouldn't give a shit about what he reveals about his motorcycle today. So let's just take it from the top. Yep. This Muc-Off FXR ClubMX Yamaha is a beast. You want to know why? Because I tried to do some stuff for him at the beginning of the year. He called me a because my stuff sucked. So I'm a horrible test rider. So I'm going to leave it to this guy, the new test rider now, because this is what these factory guys like to do after they're done racing. They won't become test riders. So Mr. Test Rider Phil Nicoletti, tell us about your engine, because I will say I would assume you would expect more hole shots this year.
We'd had a few hole shots this year.
How many?
2. But a lot of top 5 hole shots. So it's not bad. When you go, we're privateer efforts. So to go up against the factory guys, all the Japanese, all the Austrian brands, like, for the little engine that could, we do okay. And obviously Jamie Ellis is a big factor with that, with Twisted Development. And I work with Jamie quite a bit. I text him a lot, team side of things. I have a good relationship with him if I struggle with something. And he understands me as a rider, what I'm kind of looking for, whether I'm saying the right thing, but he knows the right way to pull it out of me to get what I want, which is priceless.
Let me ask you this question, because I don't think everybody's asked you this. You were on the factory Husqvarna team, and that engine is super linear and long. There's not a lot of front side to that. It's really like smooth. Maybe I'm wrong, but like this is a crap ton of front side right here, people. And I don't know how he even rides it, honestly. Like, it's amazing that he lasts 30-minute motos on this thing because it's so fast. So coming from the Husqvarna now to here, you like this engine? You prefer this engine?
So, long story short, obviously I rode for JJR for 5 years, and they were fire-breathing dragons. They had a lot of front side, like ridiculous. And when I left them and I went to the Husky, it was like, man, I got on the bike, and Scuba Westfall, who is the Triumph crew chief now, I'm like, I need more power. He's like, you don't need more power. You just need to get used to the power that this bike is putting down. It's just not ripping the arms out of your hands. I'm like, I don't know. We did have to make it a little bit faster for me to get some starts on the bike, but I took that knowledge and I put it into the Yamaha now with Twisted, and I don't feel like this has a lot of front side. Maybe for you, vet rider-wise, it might, of course. We all have different riding styles, but this is quite linear for me, okay. So I've kind of went away from the rocket ship, rip your arms off, but for me, this is it's smooth.
We discussed with your mechanic. I would have thought it would have been a 14 countershaft on your bike. I guess you're on a 1351. Is that mostly for starts? Did you want to go to a 1452? Tell us a little bit about that.
I thought about it, but the 14 with the initial response, the way the engine is, and the way the old Yamaha, 2021, 2020, I did run a 14 just because the hit was a lot different. But after the new style engine, the front side of it went away for me. So I went back to the 13 for a little more initial hit. And I just stick with the same chassis length. Like if I test on one thing and the chassis length is there, I kind of leave it. And Cam knows, like last week or Texas or whatever, like when it comes to gearing, I really try not to change it because I know my shift points for my starts. I know exactly RPM wise. Like I almost have it down to a pretty good science of like, RPM and shifting gears. So I try and leave it no matter what. If I have to change it, I'll do it with the RPM power versus gearing.
You just say science? You just said science. There's going to be a lot of bleeps in this video, people. If you're under the age of 18, we apologize, but just work through it, okay? We're trying to do this together here. We're still learning. Chassis lengths. Great question. Let's just go for it. I want to ask this question because I asked this one to all of the other mechanics, and they will not tell me. So he's leaving. So, swing arm pivot to axle length. What is your preferred length there, Phil?
What is the preferred length, Cam? Yeah, as long as I will say I run the.
You know the number. Give us the number.
What is it? We're on the
608.
I do run the old.
It's longer than 608.
Yeah, I run the old
Swing arm.
Old swing arm, you know, so I get the most length out of it, and as far back as I can, with chain linkage or chain size. So
what he's saying when he said old swing arm, people, if you guys who don't know, most of these riders on Yamahas, they're running 2017 swing arms. The swing arm is 10 millimeters longer than the current production swing arm, which is still legal, by the way. But you want to get some length because overall, in a production form, this Yamaha, when they changed to the 22 to the 23, it gained more front wheel feel, some more a better cornering feel, but stability went down. So we're trying to lengthen this thing, correct?
Yep. And also another change that we made toward the end of this year was we went to the 25 knuckle from.
That was big for you.
Which was really big because with the Yamaha or the 450 in general, there's so much torque to the rear wheel, you get so much squat. Where the Yamaha knuckle before I think was too weak for the power of the motorcycle. So Yamaha knew there was an issue. They address it. The 25 linkage makes it a lot more stiffer. So instead of trying to adjust it with spring rate or valving, the knuckle makes a big difference with how stiff it is. So
I asked about this. You were asking around for a linkage for a while. You did not get it. You were upset at this, but you ended up getting one. But you guys didn't change the spring after you guys bolted the linkage on. You're supposed to go down a spring rate?
Yeah, I stayed my spring, but I run a pretty light spring already, so not from like a Tomac or whatever. Like I always run lighter spring rates, stiffer valving if I can, because I'm super sensitive to my foot pegs. Like if I get too much chatter or whatever, so I'd much rather go softer than a little bit too stiff. So I can ride soft, I can't ride stiff. So a lot of guys are different. Like Coop, he can ride stiff, he can't ride soft. So.
I'm with you. That's more vet-ish, like softer, right? You need feel.
Yeah, I need a little plush out there. Yeah. So it might hurt me in some sections, but for 7/8 of the track, I'm okay.
All right, let's do a couple things here. Fork. Mm-hmm. Can we talk about your fork?
Sure.
Okay. PSF1?
Yep.
Why PSF1 over spring? You went back and forth a little bit, right? And using Stapes, is that out there?
Yeah, yep. Clint Stapes. I started with him beginning of outdoors. Obviously, he's got me dialed. It obviously takes a lot of work because again he's not hired to the team specifically, so a lot of my stuff with him is like with Jamie. I call him on the phone and he builds me shock, and it's kind of like mail order. So at this level, to get stuff pretty honed in through phone calls and being like, hey, I call him on Saturdays, what do I need to change and this and that, we got it pretty freaking close. I wish I could utilize them 24/7, but that's just the way it is. So yeah, PSF1. I run air because again with the 450, there's so much pitch. With the spring, I could never get the
so
pitch.
You would stiffen it up and then it would get harsh.
Yeah, it would get harsh, and I just could never get the balance. And with the PSF1, there's so much more variety with, you know, air pressure and stuff like that. And it just helps in a whole realm of different tracks. So my that's why I went there.
Did you even PSF1 outdoors as well?
Outdoors I ran it, yes. But in 250 Supercross I ran spring, so...
That's actually backwards in normal sense. Usually guys go PSF1 air for Supercross, maybe spring for outdoors.
Yeah, so I'm ass backwards. Have been my whole life, so I don't know what to tell you.
Races and offset. Can you give us an overview of this?
Yeah, so outdoors I ran... The Lux and Clamp is like more like a 23.5 offset, and then I ran 15s.
15s mean races, people.
Races, and then Supercross, I'm 21 with 15s as well. So kind of left the trails sort of the same, but I need the 15s because the steering angle on the Yamaha is a little bit steep for me.
Just to go back to those measurements, if you guys were to measure your stock Yamaha, how it comes, stock gearing, you're looking at 586-ish for wheelbase. So for me, going to like a huge number, he's trying to make this thing long. Obviously feels very fast. He's putting a lot of pressure on the bike, so they want this thing to be the most stable it can be, and then they're trying to get comfort via fork, front tire, those things like that. So I would assume for us mere people that are just watching this, that just like to ride on the weekends, you don't need to go that long. So this is just good information that you normally do not get. But since he's leaving us, he's willing just to blow everybody out right now, which I like. I like this a lot. Are you picky with your controls?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna look over your mechanic when I talk to you about this. But are you like, what are we on for risers? Are we on plus, minus, bar? What do we got?
I run +4 risers in the middle, but I am very picky with my controls. Cam knows the drill. If I have any sort of creak, wobbling levers, anything, like, he does really good. Race bikes are easy to maintain. Like, everything gets replaced. You can really tell with a mechanic on how the practice bike is. That's where the true test comes. And Cam pulls overtime. He knows my practice bike needs to be better than my race bike, at times, because
It's used more.
Yeah, it gets used more, and that's my pride and joy, and he does a really, really good job at it.
Okay, so what bend Amicas are you on? And he's on a hydraulic clutch with, looks like an extended reservoir. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the Brembo reservoir, it's pretty shallow, so it's actually, the KTM guys, Carlos told me about the bigger reservoir because you can run a little bit more oil. So, because when you do turn the bars certain ways, it gets a bit shallow. So we put that on there, and it actually helps it clutch fade a little bit, because sometimes at the AMA Nationals they like to hold the start a little bit longer than what
You had experience with that.
yeah, so that's kind of why that's on there. But I like the hydraulic feel ever since I went to the Husky. Since then, I left there and I had to go back to cable, and I'm like, the cable clutch.
Right.
The hydro is so much more
Linear.
Linear. I can feed it better, but a lot goes into that as well. So it's.
I would assume that the piston is different than normal. Are we different inside there? Come on, you're not racing anymore. It doesn't matter.
No, I don't know. It's just a normal GYTR piston. Yeah, just stock.
I'm looking at their faces. It's not. Something's going on here, but we'll move it along. Nonetheless, for the average consumer, these guys have a Yamaha. Would you recommend a hydraulic over a cable?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, even my next bikes are.
So when you get a stock one, you run a hydro.
Yeah, I'm running a hydro. There's no way around it.
All right, last thing, and we're going to wrap this thing up. I'm going to shed a tear. You guys got the lighter and lighten it up. The seat looks like we're on a little taller seat. We're not on the rounded seat. We're a flat surface here.
So I've been with Guts for a long time. They make awesome seats, but from the production ones that they make, I have Cameron even reshave it to fit my crotch area even more.
Crotchal region.
Yeah, so I'm picky about my seats. If my seats just
sounds like you're a pain in the ass with everything.
Cam hates me at times, but that's just the way it is. It'll make him a lot better mechanic, But yeah, my seat needs to be prime. I need to ride it before. I hate riding new seats on race day. They need to be broken. It's just after a certain amount of years, you just come accustomed to things. And when you're at a certain level, unfortunately, we sound spoiled. But
Diva.
when you get to a certain level, that's the standard. You know what I mean? So, like I said, we are a privateer team, but Cam does a really good job giving me the feel that I want to keep everything nice and tidy. So a lot goes into it. I'm going to tell you what, the mechanic side of thing, they work their balls off to make it good.
Is this? We can make this show an hour long, but we're going to try to wrap it up.
Yep.
Top 3 bikes that you've raced in your lifetime is right here, and you can be real. You've raced some really good bikes.
I have.
Top 5.
It's definitely top 5. Yeah, 100% top 5. So low key, I mean, Cameron knows because he was wrench up in Canada. My Canadian bike was still really good. I wish I could have raced that down here in the U.S. as well. But I have had some really good bikes. JGR, the Husky bike, and this bike here in Club is actually it's good too. But a lot of work. This is 2 years worth of development. So. But that's how it works. So you develop, it rolls over into the next year. Just gets better and better.
All right, we talk a lot of crap about Phil, but look, there's not many riders that has been in the sport as long as he has and has accomplished as much as he has. Look, riders come and go, riders get hurt, injuries. To have a career as long as Phil has, with gnarly crashes involved with all of those years, and he's still here, and he gets to go out in his own terms, I have huge respect. I'm not an ass kisser, but I will kiss his ass right now because there's not a lot of people in our sport that are real like him and that have been around and knows motorcycles and is still approachable enough. So it's kind of like what, if you watch Jerry Maguire, the Quan. It's kind of like the Quan. Sure, could he have won some championships? Right, but like for me, for being a racer and having what he's accomplished, it's amazing. Congratulations, man. I'm really stoked for you that you get out of here healthy for one, and you can have a post-racing career.
I'm looking forward to the post-racing career. As much as I've enjoyed this side of it, I've I've got to live the highs and lows. I've really enjoyed the highs, not so much the lows, but the lows are kind of what you remember and what make you to get to appreciate the highs, obviously. And yeah, I think the second chapter will be a lot easier, and then I can come race with you and enjoy it and talk shit.
He ain't gonna race. He'll work me. So it's not even a race. God. We're gonna end this thing right now and sing closing time. See you guys.